Do you feel responsible?
For what?
For what is actually happening in Somalia?
We didn't create the problem. We responded to a problem that was already created.
Your opponents accuse you of taking Ethiopia to war in Somalia unilaterally and for your own political gains. What would you say to them?
I tell them this is stupid. This is a stupid accusation. Because we have a written request from the transitional government asking us to help them.
We are in Addis Ababa and talking to Ethiopian Prime Minister Meles Zenawi. Late last year, he sent his troops to Somalia to help the government there. What was supposed to be a quick operation continues to drag on, and Ethiopian forces are today involved in what some describe as a civil war. And they are not done yet. Somalia remains in chaos.
Now, moving on to Somalia, Mr. Prime Minister, the security and humanitarian situation there is deteriorating by the day. Thousands have been displaced and hundreds, including your forces, have been killed. Do you feel responsible?
For what?
For what is actually happening in Somalia?
We didn't create the problem. We responded to a problem that was already created by terrorists. We responded at the explicit request of internationally recognized government, and we responded after the provocation of a repeated declaration of jihad against us. Now, we naturally regret the fact that the humanitarian situation in Mogadishu, and I separate Mogadishu and Somalia, they are not the same thing. Mogadishu is the capital of Somalia, but it's not the sum total of Somalia.
9 months ago, that you would be taking out your troops in a matter of weeks. It's now a year since your troops went into Somalia. How long more will they stay there?
I'm not sure, because you see, my expectation was that the African Union would send peacekeeping troops to replace our troops. The African Union has tried its very best, but doesn't have the money. And those with the money have not been as forthcoming as we thought they would be. And so, if we withdraw now, we would be creating a vacuum. And that would be horrendous in terms of security and humanitarian situation in Mogadishu. What we see now would be a picnic compared to what would happen if we were to withdraw in a precipitate manner. So while we would wish to withdraw, we would not wish to do so in an irresponsible fashion. The options are either for the Somalis to take care of their own problems, which means we have to build their security capability, or the African Union will have to take care of the problem.
You've recently been quoted as saying that you wanted to be relieved of the burden Somalia is to Ethiopia. Why are you feeling the pressure now?
Well, first of all, keeping Ethiopian troops in Somalia in and of itself is something that I do not wish to do under any circumstance. I would not want to have Ethiopian troops in any of the neighboring countries. That's not where they were supposed to be. We were forced by circumstances to send our troops. But the intention should be to withdraw at the earliest possible moment as a matter of principle. That should be the policy. And so that is one of the primary reasons. Secondly, we have covered the cost of our troop deployment in Mogadishu and Somalia from the very first day. Not a single cent of assistance has been given to us by anybody to cover the cost that we are incurring in Somalia. Now, Ethiopia is a poor country. While we have to support our cousins in Somalia, there is a limit to what we can do. So because of this, we want to withdraw our troops at the earliest moment. We want to be relieved of the burden, either by the Somalis themselves or by somebody else.
Are you giving any deadlines?
I have given estimates of the time that would be appropriate for us to withdraw from Somalia. I've been wrong in the past. So I wouldn't want to be wrong a second time. So I would simply limit myself to saying, if we can withdraw tomorrow early in the morning, we would never delay it until noon.
Your military offensive in Somalia, which in your own words was meant to tackle extremism, seems to have just fueled that. How do you react to that?
I don't think it has fueled it. The extremists were in control of practically all of Somalia with the exception of Baidoa. Now they are restricted to 2.5, 3 districts of Mogadishu. As you probably know, Mogadishu has 13 districts. 10 to 11 of these districts are peaceful. The bulk of Somali territory is peaceful. So I don't think terrorism has been fueled by our intervention. What can be said is we have not succeeded in fully stamping out terrorism in Somalia. And there is some ways to go before we can say so.
Mr. Prime Minister, your forces have been accused of human rights abuses. What do you have to say in their defense?
I think this whole approach about so-called human rights abuses in Somalia and Mogadishu, to me, is indicative of the flaw in the whole system of human rights reporting. You have international human rights organizations, some of whose staff are based, let's say, in Nairobi, who have never been to Somalia, who have never been to Mogadishu. They have their friends in Mogadishu who may have their own access to grind, but they carry this title, Human Rights Organization in Somalia. They give them their report. These are allegations. They collect this report in Nairobi and pass it on to New York or whatever. These are again allegations. Once they have been published, they stop being allegations and they become facts. This whole system of human rights reporting, to me, is open to abuse, and it has been abused in the case of Mogadishu to the hilt.
But there's been evidence, video evidence, linking your soldiers to killings of civilians.
I haven't seen any such evidence.
Mr. Prime Minister, you also told this program, when you spoke to us last, that you would not be sucked into a civil war in Somalia. Are you not engaged in one already?
This is a war between those who want to have peace and stability in Somalia and those who want to impose their version of Islam on the Somali people. And we are supporting the Somali people.
How do you feel about supporting a government that doesn't have the support of many in Somalia?
Again, who is saying who has support in Somalia? There has not been a free and fair election in Somalia for many years, even before the fall of Siad Barre regime. So the only thing we can go by is the opinion of opinion makers, clan leaders, elders, and so on and so forth. We have to base our assessment on what the opinion makers in Somalia, the elders, the clan leaders say. And the bulk of them support the transitional government. I know there are those who oppose it, and their views have to be respected so long as they are expressed peacefully. But that doesn't mean that the TFG is not accepted by Somalis.
Now moving on, your opponents accuse you of taking Ethiopia to war in Somalia unilaterally and for your own political gains. What would you say to them?
I tell them this is stupid. This is a stupid accusation. Because we have a written request from the transitional government asking us to help them. That's the first point. Secondly, the jihadists in Mogadishu did not declare their jihad against Ethiopia in hiding. They did it in front of the international media. And they didn't do it once, they didn't do it twice, they did it many times. So these are a matter of public record. If people ignore these facts and come up to their conclusions, then what else is there to say?
You have often been hailed as belonging to a crop of young and progressive African leaders. Today your forces are fighting in Somalia. They're also fighting rebels within your country and might be even fighting very soon conflict with Eritrea. Is this what you want to be remembered for?
Well, let's separate the issues. As far as Eritrea is concerned, as I told you earlier on, I don't think there's going to be war between Eritrea and Ethiopia. And I'm sure that there won't be any war initiated by Ethiopia. Now, as far as the conflict in Somalia is concerned, here again, one has to remember how we got into it. The internationally recognized government of Somalia, in a written invitation sent to Ethiopia, asked for our assistance. The African Union tried its best to send peacekeepers to Somalia. Didn't succeed. Didn't succeed because those who have the money have not provided the money for the African Union to send peacekeeping troops. So I don't think the fact that there are these conflicts is something that anybody can be proud of. But we are living in a real world. And in a real world, you are sometimes forced to do things that you detest.
Are you contemplating to step down as Prime Minister anytime soon?
Yeah, I've said in the past that I expect this term to be my final term as a Prime Minister.
And what would you do in your retirement?
I have not planned that far out into the future, but I'm sure I'll be around in Ethiopia. I would be in a position to do things that I would have liked to do, but I've not had the time to do in the past. I have a lot of hobbies. I'll probably pick up one or two of those hobbies.